Homemade soup recipe thickeners. Homemade soup recipes fall into two general categories: thickened soups and clear soups. This distinction refers only to the liquid portion of the soup, as both types will most often contain solid ingredients as well. The broth of a clear soup is normally formed from a pre-made stock, made from simmering ingredients to extract the flavor and nutrients. These stocks can be made from meat or vegetable ingredients, most often both. If bones or cartilage are included, then the stock can contain gelatin, which is formed from the collagen in these ingredients. This gives the soup a thicker texture, especially after chilling, but it also helps mix the flavors of the soup. This is because gelatin, like fats, oils and alcohol, can dissolve organic compounds, while water cannot do so as easily. Thickened homemade soup recipes can be further divided into two main groups. The first is soups that are thickened by pureeing starchy vegetables, such as potatoes, squash, or peas. Even less starchy vegetables like asparagus or broccoli can be used, but the texture usually benefits from other thickening ingredients. The other category of thickened soup comes from those that use either dairy or grain starch, or a combination of the two, in order to thicken the broth alone. Often the main soup ingredient is left intact, or is partially pureed, as in a creamed mushroom soup. The classic method of thickening the soup is to use a bechamel, which is a preparation of butter, flour and milk or cream, which is then mixed into the soup. The flour, being partially coated by the butter, only absorbs a portion of the liquid that it would otherwise do, so it does not thicken to the point of becoming a dough like a dumpling. A similar method is to use a velouté, which is a butter, egg and cream mixture. This is slightly more difficult than a bechamel, as care must be taken in order to avoid scrambling the eggs. Given the extra preparation time called for by these two methods, most homemade soup recipes simply call for cream or butter, for both. This is especially true for seafood soups. However, if certain starchy ingredients are added to the soup, and they are given ample time to cook, they can also help thicken the soup. Barley, rice, beans and potatoes are perfect examples of these. These ingredients do two important things. First, they absorb liquid from the soup, thereby reducing the total amount of free liquid. Second, they release starch molecules into the remaining liquid, where they begin to expand and form loose bonds between each other. This loose connection between swollen starch molecules is what makes the soup thicker. The longer the ingredients are allowed to cook, the thicker the soup will be, until it becomes more. Homemade soup recipe thickeners. Homemade soup recipes fall into two general categories: thickened soups and clear soups. This distinction refers only to the liquid portion of the soup, as both types will most often contain solid ingredients as well. The broth of a clear soup is normal.